Here is how the grid lines up. Toppy Aikinen starts on pole position. Alongside him on the front row is Hayden Padden. Row 2, Andrew Jordan and Timmy Hansen. He's going to have a difficult task from the second row of the grid to turn things around. Tamara Molinaro and Oliver Webb are on the third row of the grid. Now this, of course, is the first time we've had a staggered start in terms of the grid here this weekend. Dan, how does that change things compared to the straight line start that we've seen?
I mean, we're probably not going to see as much wheel bashing on the way in, on the run down to turn one. It just depends on the start that everybody gets, of course. But you know, if you're on the back row, you can sort of see what's happening in front of you and kind of pick your way through. But it's going to be difficult, especially with a right-left corner in quick succession. It's going to be hard for them to make their way up through.
And potentially, if the weather comes into play as well, I can see a few umbrellas going up just in front of us and a few hoods going up as well. So keep an eye out for that. There is Timmy Hansen's car just in the middle of your picture. A bit of bodywork damage on his Pantera RX6. That, of course, is the result of the contact that we saw in the highlights reel with Shoo. So then, 6 laps about to get this semi-final underway. Who is going to lead the way down towards turn 1? Who will lead the way at the end of this race? Ready to race board is displayed. Green light comes on. Semi-final 1 for round 7 of TitansRX. It's underway. Great launch from Timmy Hansen off the second row of the grid. Great launch also from Toppy Aikinen down towards turn 1. Who is going to lead the way? Hansen on the outside, Aikinen on the inside. They go side by side, but Hansen is shuffled out wide as they come over the jump for the first time of asking. Aikinen does manage to continue leading the way. Andrew Jordan now having to second, and Hansen leaning on Hayden Padden into second place, nearly for Hansen there, and into second as well. He gets fifth by Molinaro, does Hayden Padden as well. So that is big drama here for the Kiwi on the opening lap. But now Timmy Hansen is up into second place. So what looked to be a really good start and then shuffled out wide, he's managed to get a really good drive there down through those first couple of corners.
Yeah, Timmy Hansen had to do that, didn't he? Following his disaster in the Q2 race, he had to get his way back up, starting P4 on the grid. He's got to be top 3, remember, to get into the final. So already got himself in a good position here in sitting in P2. He's now got Toppy Aikinen in his sights. He's going to be trying to bring down the gap and see what he can do to take the win.
And look at that gap that Toppy Aikinen has been able to pull out as in front as well. A little bit wide there for Timmy Hansen. We've seen that so much from so many drivers. You get onto that rougher stuff here, Dan. It's almost a different surface, isn't it, out there?
Yeah, it sucks you in and it slows you right down. So Tamara Molinaro has gone up the inside of Andrew Jordan, so that puts her in P3 into a place in the final. To see, she's got a little bit crossed up in the jump there. Andrew Jordan back up her inside.
Oh, bit of contact. They go side by side into the chicane. They managed to keep it on the straight and narrow, but that was very aggressive stuff there from Andy Jordan. It's not a usual way to find your way past, but he manages to make it stick against all the odds.
Yeah, AJ really sticking his elbows out there. He knew he was in P3, so he had to maintain that position if he wanted to go any further in this event. And yeah, with Tamara putting a move on him like that, he had to respond quickly.
Absolutely. Top 3 positions, by the way, from semi-final 1 will go into the final here this afternoon. So Andrew Jordan doing exactly what he needs to do to get himself into that final. Molinaro also had a little bit wide. Is that going to allow Hayden Padden a bit of an opportunity to find his way through? Not quite at the moment, but over the jump they come. Padden, of course, the red mist is descended now for the Kiwi. He is going to have to try every trick in the book to get his way through against Molinaro and then try and launch an attack on AJ in the latter stages.
Yeah, he got pushed out in that long gravel corner off the start, having started on the front row of the grid, so he's really got to try and push his way back up, and he is really catching onto the back of Tamara Molinaro now. So let's see what he can do in the next couple of laps, see if he can bring the gap down even further and potentially make a pass.
Down in towards that first corner we go, a little bit wide there for Molinaro over the jump. Does that compromise her run into turn 2? It certainly does. She's out a little bit wide there. Is Padden going to be able to find his way through? We're looking at the 2 race leaders. We're looking at side by side. For 4th place, Padden leans on Molinaro through the left-hander of turn number 3. Over the jump they come, side by side racing action here in TitansRX, and Hayden Padden finds his way through into 4th place. What a brilliant move there from the Kiwi.
Yeah, so made P4 and Andrew Jordan spins around, and that promotes Hayden Padden into P3, so he's gone from P5 to P3 in 1 lap. And is AJ got a problem there? It seems like he couldn't get the car turned around, but no, he seems to be going again now. So Hayden Padden has gone from P5 up to a slot in the final, just in a couple of corners there. So fantastic job by him.
How things change in Rallycross, how quickly things can change in Rallycross. That is a perfect example of that for Hayden Padden. Took the opportunities, has kept a clean race, and is now currently in the final here in TitansRX. The 2 people who are leading the way very commandingly still, of course, are Toppy Aikinen and Timmy Hansen, doing a great job out there so far. Now is Molinaro going to have an answer to Hayden Padden? Is she going to be able to answer to the Kiwis' pace?
No, the gap seems to be opening up a little bit, but I know we're not going to see the end of the fight from Molinaro. She's going to be pushing hard now. Try not to let that red mist take over, to not make any mistakes, and she's got to try and get on the back of him. She's got 1 lap left 2 laps left to go to try and bring that gap down, and let's see what she can do.
Yeah, over the timeline then to start the final lap here. Toppy Haken still leading the way by 1.5 seconds. That gap, as you say, becoming more pronounced between Padden and between Molinaro. The windscreen wipers are on, so the rain is coming down a little bit more here at Fuglau. So that's going to make things interesting for semi-final 2 in terms of what the guys are going to do with the tyres. As I understand it, they can still change tyres on the pre-grid, but I don't think it's anywhere near wet enough at the moment. If the rain is coming down, it's still very fine. But Toppy Haken, what an absolutely brilliant performance this has been from the Finnish driver. You can see the bodywork damage on Timmy Hansen's car following that contact he had on the opening lap, but through the final series of corners we go, and Toppy Haken takes victory in semi-final 1 here in Austria. Timmy Hansen finishes in 2nd position, and over the line in 3rd place will come Hayden Padden. He makes it through to the final here for round 7 in Austria. Molinaro finishes in 4th place, and then Ollie Webb will, I think, finish in 5th position, just ahead of Andrew Jordan, who of course suffered that spin, and that sadly cost him a place in the final. That just goes to show, Dan, one mistake can cost you everything, can't it?